Hello and welcome back to Project Highrise. I'm your host, Christopher Tarantola, and we are going to play a new tower. I did one episode where I just did my first impressions, just kind of started getting the feel for it. I then went off camera and built a tower, quite frankly, in easy mode, just so I could just get a handle on what all the different things are in the game. And I'm sure I didn't get some of the late game stuff, but I think I got enough to get started and have a relatively decent tower. So, South Wacker Drive. Yeah, why not? That sounds good to me. I'm going to go with an extra large lot size, and I'm going to stick with engineer. I'm not quite ready to go up to architect yet. So, uh, here we go. One of the things I love about this game, I love games that take so little to play, like for your computer. Computer does not uh, die very much when playing this game because it just doesn't take a lot. And so you can play on computers that aren't the state of the art gaming PCs, $3,000 machines that everybody would love to have, but not everybody has, including myself. Right, so we start off with this tower here, and it's not really a tower, it's just a lobby and a basement, and you have a place for your constructors and stairs for them to get from the first floor, or the ground floor, I should say, to the first basement. So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start. You start off with $10,000 in cash, so you do got to be careful. But I'm going to start off by going this way and this way. What that's going to do for me is I'm going to create a scheme basically where this is where my elevator is going to go. And I'm going to go ahead and unpause it, keep it at 1, and we're going to go ahead and build a second story and a third story. Oh, third story and a fourth story. Now I'm talking like an American, so that's first, second, third, fourth. But really, we're doing the first, second, and third stories, right? Okay. And we need a couple basement stories, but I think I'm gonna opt to expand out this way and this way. All right. So I've spent about $2,000 just on building my building shell, and these guys are sitting around waiting. Let's get them to work. And then you get your utilities here, and we're going to do a wiring closet. So you require the transformers, and you have 3 different sizes. The larger the size, the more efficient it is per unit of electricity that it produces. However, it also costs more. So you don't want to just go straight for the big one because you just can't afford it this early on. It just costs too much. But you also have your electricity, phone, and cable. They go with the wiring closets, and then you have your plumbing closets, which are water and gas. And we'll go ahead and stick that up there. Even though we don't have water yet, and I'm not necessarily going to put it in, I'm just doing this for planning purposes. You also are going to want to have 3 tiles for trash and for recycling. Now, I'm not going to actually put those in yet because I don't need them, and that's just going to give me extra cost. I probably should have done the same thing with these plumbing closets, but oh well. But we're just going to start off with some offices, and some just really super basic offices. I'm going to leave the ground floor empty for now. I'm going to go over 3, and I can't start yet because they haven't built that floor out yet. So right now they're still working on the building shell. Once they finish the building shell, then I can build out with these offices. So I'm going to speed it up and probably speed it up even more with the editing. Okay, so these guys are building, and I'm actually going to keep them going at full speed here. But I can go ahead and start building out these offices. And we can fit 3 in there nicely. And we want to have a good variety of offices, but we need a greater variety of small restaurants to do any legal offices. There's our budget for the day. And we need a greater variety of cafes and a prestige of 1 to do creative offices. So we can't do those yet. And that's okay. We'll get there. For now, we'll just stick with a couple of insurance offices and an accounting office. Okay, now, you get these little zots here, and that's indicating, hey, you don't have electricity to this tenant. That tenant's not going to be too happy about that. So, you have to go from where your electricity already is to where you want to take it. You can't, like, start here and go back that way. I'm not sure that I like that. That's one of the features that I wish you could, like, do a right click right here, and it would just automatically do all the ones in between, because when you've got a big tower that's this wide, it could kind of get old to have to go zzz, zzz, zzz with all the utilities. It gets a little bit monotonous, in my opinion, but you know, that's just a minor complaint for how cool this game is, in my opinion. So they continue with that. Now, do they need phone or cable or TV? Sometimes they do. I don't think these particular offices will. So, once we do that, we got those 3 offices in. This floor is ready to go, so I'm going to go ahead and stick them in there. And we'll, I think I'm going to start with the accounting offices up here, because they are more cash in the pocket. Right? And so now our population is growing, and our visitor population has not really done much yet. That's going to vary, obviously, a lot more from day to day. And as your tower gets bigger and has more amenities, it will, you will get more visitors. Okay, so now we have 6 offices, and we'll increase that to 9 right about now. Right, and so insurance office. Okay, but wait, we don't have any more offices, and we can't build these yet because we don't have the required variety of stuff. But for $50, I can advertise in a paper to say I have the vacancy. I'm going to pause this while I'm explaining it. Or $75 to do accounting offices. Now, it costs more money, $25 more money, but these typically have $25 more per month in rent. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. Expected responses in 2 minutes. Now, they're not going to just automatically move in. You're going to have to come back in about 2 minutes of game time, not actual time. And you will need to... I'm sorry, my brain just totally blanked. Okay, so it'll be 2 minutes of game time, not actual time, and you'll need to come back, click on this again, and then select your tenants from there. Okay, now let's get this electrical back going over here, and they're building that out down there as well. And the reason I did this is each of your different tenants, you got 4 tenants basically. You got office, apartments, restaurants and cafes, and retail stores. Each of these has different service requirements. So sometimes, you know, to get the really fancy apartments, you're gonna pause this for a second. To get the really fancy apartments later in the game, you're gonna need to have some of the really fancy shopping already in your building, because the fancy tenants aren't going to come in there if they can't get their nice Versace purses and shoes and Prada and all that good stuff. Likewise, they're going to also want services, which you get over here. And so you have apartment services and office services. And the food and retail stores, they don't need their own services. If anything, I don't know if they even play off of these two. But you have different services in here like courier, office supply, bottled water, etc., etc. And it gets to all kinds, and you gotta plan for that, and so that's why you need space in the basement, so that you can put your services there. You can put them above ground, I think, or certain ones you have to put above ground, certain ones you can't. And you'll see. Let's go down to the bottom because, like limousine services, Prestige need at least 14. Um, and it's still locked, so it's not even showing. But limousine services you can only build above ground. Helicopter charters, obviously, you need to have that on the roof. I haven't actually gotten that far. But let's see, just says needs an electrical line and a water pipe, so I can put that literally anywhere. As long as I have my electric and my water, I'm good. And for all of these initial ones, that is the case. For some of the later ones, they may only be available underground. They might only be available above ground, and so forth. So, in any case, let's let this continue to build. This guy's not happy. Why is he not happy? Satisfaction, good. I think he's not happy because he didn't have electricity for a while. And so that thought just went away. I got the electricity to him, now he's hunky-dory. Let's check to see, okay, we've got an insurance office that just came up. We also have 3 accountants. Now, I need a greater variety of food court restaurants for them to move in, but I can go ahead and click that and get that done. Now, look, we have an elevator that has broken on us. To fix that, we need building staff, and we need to do a maintenance office. And so we're going to go ahead and stick that maintenance office in right there. And once that gets built, they can go and fix the elevators. You also, part of the game is you're going to need to renovate places. They're going to look really grungy and dirty, way grungy and dirty than I've ever seen in real life. But really grungy and dirty, and so you need your maintenance office to go and renovate the different places in order to keep your tenants in. Now, later in the game, and I'll show you this later in the game, you'll be able to get a better maintenance office than this one. It's bigger. It has, I think, 3 instead of 2, and you can automate that so where you don't have to, on a daily basis, go and see what needs renovating and make that happen. Now, we are making a profit, about $290 per day, which is great. You also have these contracts. So the contracts are kind of designed to push you along, to give you the greatest diversity of your building. That being said, you can kind of steer your building the way you want to, so you don't have to accept every contract that's sent your way. And I find the rewards are minimal enough that if you didn't ever do the contracts, it wouldn't kill you. One thing that's nice about the contracts, and I don't know if they'll plan to change this or not, is let's say it says more people need it and you increase your building population to 50. Well, let's say I never took that contract, but my population has already increased to 65. If I go ahead and sign that contract, I'll go ahead and already get my rewards. So if you do something in the building and then you can retroactively sign a contract and reap the rewards for that contract. The point, I think, with the thinking behind that for the game developers is they're trying to get you to learn how to develop the property and give you the general game progression through the contracts without forcing it on you. It is a sandbox game, and so sometimes people just want to build their building without having to be told what to do and how to do and where and how. And so you can ignore this if you want, or you can partake. And that's just something that I really like that kind of thinking in a game developer. So I applaud that feature for this game. Now, they are going to start complaining that they don't have enough places to eat food. So one of the things to take into account is this is your bus stop. This is your street. This is the alley back here. Nobody comes from back here. Everybody's going to come from the left side of your building and come in this way. So the stuff you put over here is going to have less traffic than the stuff you put over here, because people are going to come in and go up, and they're going to go up in that way, and up in this way, and up in this way, depending on where you put your elevators, right? So you need to take that into account when you're planning your design. Like I said, you have four different. You got offices, you got apartments, food, and retail. Food and retail, they want usually the high traffic areas. They want people to walk by their restaurant. Just think about it. When you're going down the highway, at least here in America, particularly in Texas, you going down the highway, you don't see residential housing right on the freeway. You're going to see restaurants and retail shops and shopping malls and commercial development. And so that's, if you're not in maybe industrial, but that's besides the point, right? There's purely no industrial here. So the point of that is, that's where you want your high traffic. And then when you see neighborhoods, those are low traffic streets. They try and make the streets curvy. They try and put stop signs in there. Maybe they put cul-de-sacs. And that's all in an effort to reduce the amount of traffic, slow cars down. Because when your kid is playing out in the front yard, you don't want your kid to get run over by a guy that's going 50 miles an hour, which is slow for a freeway, but really fast for a residential neighborhood, right? So those are the kinds of things you want to think about when you're placing these different things. So I'm going to solidly, what I'm planning to do is I'm going to solidly have my offices in the center of my tower. This is as far out as I can zoom. So the center of my tower is going to be offices. Over here, I'm going to have like a Galleria type shopping area. And then back here is where I'm going to be putting my apartments. And the higher up I go, the fewer elevators I'm going to have in there. And everything is going to be predicated off of this core. The elevators, the cable, the wiring closets and the plumbing closets, the trash, and the recycling will all be right here. And those are my core services. So that's what the core of my building is going to be. So it's going to be roughly equidistant, give or take a couple tiles, to both sides. And so that's, I think, where ideally you're going to want to put that. In planning your basement areas, in the game that I played offline by myself, I just kind of threw it in there as I needed it. I'd like to get a little bit more organization to it. So you're going to need trash and recycling pickups, and you're going to need quite a bit of that. And it depends on what you want in your building. If you want to have the super duper 2-story luxury condos or bed, I don't know, the apartments basically that are the highest end apartments. They're super huge. They take up 2 stories. Those are extremely service intensive. You're going to need childcare and laundry and dry cleaning and this and that and the other and then some, and you got to basically practically need that for every floor. I stuck those in the basement. I think what I'll do is I'll actually stick those on the floors with the apartments and just have that planned in, baked in to my planning. But you're still going to want to have a place where your utility closets are your transformers, basically. You're going to want to have a place for all your trash and whatnot. You're going to want to have a place for your residential services that you do want in the basement, and a place for your commercial services that you want in the basement. You also want to plan that this space right here is going to be reserved. I'm not going to build anything right there. And the reason is I'm going to get the opportunity to do a transit stop. And I'm going to want to put my transit stop right there, right next to my elevator, so that people can come up from the subway and straight into my building, into my main core. So those are my plans. I know I'm pausing and you're just listening to me talk, but hopefully that gives you an idea of where I'm going and why I am doing some of the things that I am doing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete these stairs. We don't need them. They're just taking up space. And I'm going to, I think, start to put some shops in. So I'm going to build 3. Oh, I grabbed the person instead of the food court. So I've got the hot dog grill. I can't do the cafes, so I need more prestige. So it's a catch-22. I need more prestige to get the nicer offices. I need more offices to get the nicer restaurants to get the nicer offices. So it's kind of a catch-22 thing, right? But we will make it happen. Go ahead and give them electricity. Are they gonna need anything else? I don't know. I didn't look. I usually wait till they start complaining, and I'll pause it and give it to them if they need it. We do want to. So look, we're getting a Zot, but wait, we've already put electricity to that. So why is the Zot happening? Well, that's because if you look here, we are producing 10 units of electricity, but the demand is 11. And so we are utilizing more than 100%, and that equals brownouts, bad days. So we're going to need to upgrade our transformers. I'm going to go ahead and move that over to here by getting an upgraded one. I'm going to go up to a 50. Then I'm going to go ahead and delete this one, so I don't need it anymore. And as long as I have electrical going from it to these closets, I'll be fine. So I'm gonna have like an area here that's gonna be just for my transformers and my plumbing. I don't know what do they call it? Meters. There you go. So there you go. And so that electrical Zot goes away. So I'm gonna just request that we find some people. We got the proof of concept done, which is gives me $500. I'm not even sure what that required, what the requirement was, but there it is, all the same. So we get some food going in here. I think we need to go ahead and expand, and I'm just going to expand horizontally. I'm not going to expand vertically quite yet. So let's go ahead. We got a little bit of money, so we do got to be careful. I'm just going to go out 4. And we'll put 1 extra office in, and then 1 extra food court thing in when we are ready. There's that. And here's our first office. And we can now do some legal offices. We now have a sufficient variety that legal offices can be moved in. Alright, these guys are building it up. I'd like to place this office. Why are you not... Why did you go on break? Thank you. Oh, and we need telephone. So legal offices, they needed more restaurants, but they also need more services. So beyond just the electrical, which they don't have, I'll go ahead and extend that out for each of these, because I know they're all going to need electrical for sure. They also need phone. And phone is easy. You need to put a transformer down there. And then you already have your wiring closet, so you just need to bring the wiring over. And we're probably going to need it for this one, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then we're going to do 1 more office up here, and it's just going to be a normal office. So I don't think it's going to need anything extra. We'll do an accountant. There we go. So now let's see. You've just reached 1 prestige. Don't show this again. Thank you. I got this. And we're going to put a restaurant in. And now we can put some cafes. Let's do a coffee. People like their coffee in the morning, and they will complain if you don't have it. Oh, this does need a phone, so I need to go ahead and bring the phone over to here. And bingo. So now we have a slightly expanded building. We're working on, what is that, 12 offices and 4 restaurants, cafes. And we got 1 prestige so we can add decorative elements now. So what are decorative elements? Well, you can do wallpapers, or you can do like a wall-to-ceiling window, or a slightly different wall-to-ceiling window. You can just remove it and bring it back to the studs, as if you will. You can also put little things like chairs and stuff in there. It doesn't cost any money, and some of these things will cost money, by the way. These don't cost money right now. You can do lights, miscellaneous. What's this? A water dispenser, water fountain, basically. Things like that. Bonus items. Build a cubist fountain. And these things will make people, these are what's considered pretty and nice things. And particularly for your luxury goods stuff, you're going to need to invest in space to put them, as well as in them themselves. Even though they're free, it costs space, if nothing else. Right now, we're not worrying about that. That's going to be to the right over here later on. Right now, I'm just worried about building up my offices. So, I have my offices. Oh, yeah. So we are still spending way more than we're bringing in. That's not good, but we have been building out. So I'm gonna let it run for a little bit there, just so I can get some cash. You can go over here and take out loans, and as you progress in prestige, you can take out bigger and fancier loans. But I think the next step of what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the same setup that's over here and bring it over to the other side. The offices like to be relatively close to at least these offices like to be relatively close to the elevators, so I am going to ensure that that happens by going onto the other side of the elevator, and that will increase this elevator's efficiency, basically doubling what this elevator can serve without increasing the travel time. I'm gonna wait till I have, I think, a little bit more money though. I don't know. Basically, when you add floor, it's $10 plus the number that your floor is. So that's 10. That's gonna be 11, 12, 13, and so on as you go up. And so I'm gonna go ahead and span this out. Now, how many do I have? I got so 4, 8, 12, 16. Okay. So 4, 8, 12, 16. There we go. And so then I can just, it won't build out over there. So you can't have some fancy overhangs, which, I'd like to have the ability to put like a column or something to say, okay, I want to have an outdoor space that's overhung by the building above it, and you stick a column under there. Structurally, it still would be sound. I wish I could do that. Alas, this building isn't. This game is not that sophisticated, and that's okay. Not the biggest deal in the world. Just a wish. So they've built up the first floor. So let's start adding some offices, shall we? 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Still spending more than we're bringing in, and I suspect that should be coming to an end soon. Well, and we can start doing the creative offices, which is great. They will take some more utilities, though. Okay, so first of all, we definitely need, electricity to everything. Oh, it's not built yet, maybe? I don't know why it's not continuing. Oh, I'm out of cash, that's why. Need more cash. So I'm going to go ahead and accept the community bank loan. And that's $5 grand, so that ought to give me enough money to do what I need to do. So these offices seem to... Oh, that needs a phone. Of course, I put it on the end instead of putting it on this side, which would have been the smarter move, right? But I find that while there is a cost incurred to do it this way, it's not going to make or break your tower. You're going to need to do the phone lines that way anyway when you expand, so in the end it'll be fine. Go ahead and get my phone over here. And let's go ahead and add these offices. Okay, and I'm just gonna say, let's bring in creative offices, legal offices, accounting offices. No, I don't want to talk to Barry. And just all 4 of them. And I'll go ahead and build out these other ones as well. Bam and bam. Alright, and so we'll go with the creative first because they give me the most benefit. Notice the rent just went down, so you might pause that so it doesn't go down anymore. And why does the rent go down, you ask? Well, I'll tell you why. Rent is going to go down. Let me put this. Rent is going to go down for a couple different reasons. If you don't have the services they are wanting, such as let's take a look. So I don't have any apartments, but I do have some offices now. And I love the way they did this. They make the way they do this visually so that you don't have to work hard to make it happen. I like this. You don't have to actually read this. You just have to look for the white bold. Anywhere there's white bold, you need to place that. Not present, but desired by tenants. The desired is white bolded. Let's say you have it, it is present, but it's insufficient. It will also white bold the insufficient. And so it's just a little simple thing, but it makes it so much easier to know what should I be doing right now. Now, I'm not going to put that there because I'm going to want to bring my water closets and stuff down. But I can put it over here. And I will do so. Are there any other services that they are wanting right now? Copy services. Let's go ahead and add that. Anything else? That should be it for now. So, having these services, once they get built, they will make these tenants happier and more likely to pay more money, particularly once they start moving in even more tenants. Might have been smarter to put these first and then move them in. I'm too lazy for that, so you can play smarter than me, please do. So we got a nice little office building shaping up, don't we? It's got a decent basement going, nice and square. Up, we need some phone. We need some phone. So where's our phone line? Up. The problem is not that we don't have enough phone line; it's that we don't have enough production. We're going to delete this one, and we're going to put the second larger one, and that ought to cover us for a while now. And I'm almost out of cash again, so I'm literally going to wait this out. Oop, here we go. Yeah, so I'm actually making just barely more than I'm spending, but by about 1,000, which is a lot right now. I think I'm going to call that a day. It is the end of the day in the game, but I'm going to call it an episode is really more appropriate. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this has been a good informative look at Project Highrise. I plan to build this tower out to the fullest and see where I can take it. Thanks so much for watching as always. Talk to y'all later.